Welcome to another edition of TW Sports Talk right here on YouTube. On the day that Madden 15 came out. Oh yeah, that's right, it is today. It came out today, yep. Yeah, of course, Richard Sherman on the cover of that. That's usually not good luck for somebody, but yeah. Past couple years, let's have the past couple years, maybe the curse has been broken. Yeah, so, but yeah, I mean, anyway, yeah, based out of Philadelphia here, we're, talking about the Eagles. A pretty solid, across the board, performance in that third preseason game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Still not buying the wide receivers. Yeah, Macklin went down apparently. Yeah. I started cringing saying, well, this is gonna be a long season then. Yeah, apparently, when that happened, apparently that is, similar to what happened when he tore his ACL last year. It might have actually been the same one. Like the same, yeah. And, it was like a freak moment, I guess, from Jeremy Macklin there. The crowd was silent, everybody knows how poor Macklin is these days. Turns out he was alright. As far as his performance in the game, the thing was, I think, Macklin's this offense, it seems like one dime in him, I guess you could say, is one of the, football cliches there, nothing too crazy there, but yeah. Well, I'm not expecting any deep balls of this receiving core. Well, no, yeah. Not without Deshaun Jackson. Exactly. To me, once he left, there was no more deep ball threat anymore. It was gone. You have nobody on this team that is fast enough that can go the distance. Yeah. I don't care how accurate Foles is as a quarterback. Yeah. He's not going to be able to throw anything deep with any of this receiving core. The closest guy who would say is maybe Matthew, yeah. But, of course, in the slot right now. But he's got to pick up, but any other rookie receiver, he's got to adjust to the speed, because college it's slower, and for a lot of rookie receivers, they don't really adjust to that speed right away. Yeah. So maybe a little bit faster corner. Yeah. And of course, right now he's like the slot guy. So clearly, it's clearly a lot of short passes. It's clearly what his offense gonna be, which might mean faster time possession. Yeah. Key thing, fact about this thing was that we had a higher time possession than the Steelers. not expecting that in every game, but I would love to see some improvement in that type of position. Yeah, of course, tight ends were obviously, they were put to use here. Yeah. Zach Ertz, decent show. Of course, Brent Selleck had another impressive game and another kicking that helmet on. Another moment, where I mean, some people are debating, does he need a tighter chin strap or whatever? Wasn't the reason why I fell? Does he purposely, leave it, loose for like effect if he gets tackled in the helmet? I don't know, but that's been helmet to helmet tackles are even for Flyers, when it was not clearly a helmet to helmet, it was just it's a hard tackle. Yeah. I don't know if he does that for, maybe Brett Selleck might be a dirty player, possibly. Yeah. He's trying to change the rules to his advantage. But yeah, so obviously that's an element. And of course, the screen games, or the screen game was obviously a big element, I think, in this preseason game. Obviously, the one play, you had LaShawn McCoy, that screenplay. I kind of am cringeworthy about that, though. And I look at Adrian Peterson as a good example when you give a running back almost the entire offense. That just increases your chance of getting injured. And Adrian Peterson is a big guy. Exactly. McCoy is like the skinny guy, and I think he's a little shorter, maybe. I don't know. He's kind of. And keep in mind, he had 2 injury scares last year. Well, what was the one game in Kansas City, where she went to the back, and Mike Mayock is like, oh no, I remember that. It looked like his season was over. Well, I really thought my fantasy season was over after that, because he's my top player, essentially. I thought it was because I'm like, I don't care how good you think Chris Paul is Sean McCoy. And that running game is just gonna be dead then. After that, then just come a one-dimensional offense. Dallas has shown us that doesn't really work. Now, and again, of course they brought in Sproles in the offseason. It looked like, I think after that LaShawn McCoy touchdown, that screenplay that was effective. looked like they tried to do the same thing with Sproles, but, you know, Todd Herman's ran, you know, one of them were out of place. Maybe Herman's, you know, pulled a little too far. Darren Sproles is hit or miss. Yeah. He's had some great moments at the Saints, but he's also has really not been the same, and he's some big missed moments too. Which is why the Saints were happy to let go of him, essentially. Yeah. I mean, I think Chip Kelly might be using him for similar things as LaShawn McCoy, like these screen passes, but obviously I think that play was maybe a miscue between Todd Herman's, and that caused
honestly, it feels like, because I really feel like the offense is going to be involved a lot more around McCoy this year than last year. That has might be a lot to do with the fact that the receiving core clearly is not where they want it to be right now.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, even though it worked for New England to a degree, you don't want to really involve your offense run the tight end position too much, because
Gronkhouse, yeah.
Well, yeah, because, you know, they're big, but they're very, tight ends can be very injury prone too.
And the hit that Gronk took last year to the end of his season was pretty, you know, crazy. Yeah, anybody could have gotten hurt on that.
So at this point, it feels like McCoy's going to be the guy that essentially, this offense going to go where McCoy goes in the game, essentially, it feels like. It really feels like that's the guy they want to, which I say, I look at the Minnesota Vikings, and that could be a pretty big hit or miss depending on, you know, how good healthy your running back can be in a year. And the fact that McCoy is shorter than Adrian Peterson scares the hell out of me, because this guy can have, easily get hurt out there.
Yeah. Now I noticed a couple plays, you know, I think, you know, where maybe like short yard situations, you know, Matthew, because
it's gonna be close now, because we picked up, what was it,
picked up the guy,
Keon Barner from Oregon.
Yeah.
Well, he played for Oregon,
yeah. He was, from but again, it's another one of those Chip Kelly guys from Oregon, and, you know, I mean, that's one of those things, but yeah, I mean,
I don't see Pete Carroll, like, begging to get Matt Barkley on his team, or Mark Sanchez or Matt Weiner, because they were USC guys. You know, it's just, you know, he's a Pac-12 guy, but how many Pac-12 guys on the Seattle Seahawks? Oh boy, how many USC guys here? How many Oregon Duck guys do we have on this roster right now?
as far as the, running back depth chart, Matthew Tucker, I think, has looked pretty good in short yardage situations where they needed,
it's probably gonna come down. It's gonna come down to him and Barner for that final fourth spot.
Yeah,
because that's what we're gonna go for, like last year.
Yeah.
I think Polk, Safe, Ozzy Sproles, and McCoy are pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah.
They're probably getting most of the snaps in this season. And like I said, that's the reason why he got Sproles, because, hey, McCoy goes down, Derek Sproles is a veteran.
He can do some similar things.
Screen passes
that it seems.
He's not younger than McCoy in that. He's older, and people, like I said, he's hit or miss. It's not like this guy's a guaranteed impact player like he used to be. He can make it not as consistent as he used to make them. And age has something to do with that, I think.
Definitely, on screenplays, he can be very effective. Handing the ball off to him, I don't know how much that's gonna work, but.
Cause really, how his impact plays really Drew Brees throwing passes to him, essentially.
Right, yeah. Screen passes and wheel routes and stuff.
Which is pretty much what Old Eagles was going to be using him for. Cause that's what.
Right, yeah.
I feel like that's something that Chip Kelly's used a lot this year, are real routes and screen passes.
After the LaShawn McCoy touchdown play, later on they were essentially doing the same play with Sproles where they have, Todd Hermans and, two of the old linemen, kind of pull out blocks on the defenders. So, obviously that's, I think where we'll see Sproles fit in this mix, unsurprisingly. Now you go over to the defense. Defense surprisingly playing pretty well in this game, obviously.
I just like,
because maybe they get a pass rush when they blitz, and that helps.
Maybe it's the fact that the Steelers might be rivals, because for some reason this team might play better when we're facing a rival. It might be extra more. Maybe they were sick and tired of Twitter making fun of them for being the worst defense in the NFL, maybe. Maybe Curtis Marsh was sick and tired of being poked and fired. Screw you guys.
But yeah, the defense, they were getting off the field on third down. That was, obviously that's big.
It kept Ben Roethlisberger in check, which
definitely,
it wasn't like Ben Roethlisberger really had a bad game either. He actually did have a nice. He did have a nice touchdown drive at one point. That was in the third quarter, I believe.
Although I think that's in the second half. The Eagles had second stringers out, I think, at that point. I know,
it was really in the third quarter, I know that.
Yeah. The one, yeah, I mean, you know, I bring up second stringers, I mean, the one, Sanchez, you know, drive that they had, you know, the touchdown drive that they had, the first team defense for the Steelers was still out, and Mike Tomlin looked like he was about to, you know, grab somebody by the helmet and, you know, just eat it for dinner. I mean, it was,
That's how the Steelers can still be relevant, as Mike Tomlin such a hell of a motivator on that sideline.
But yeah, I mean, he didn't look too happy after that, but yeah, I mean, and even Barkley, you know, albeit against, you know, third teamers, even, you know, as far as, yeah, now is, you know, a lot of experts are saying.
I'm curious. I'm curious when to keep a third quarterback on the roster. Most teams only usually keep two now.
Yeah.
Especially in our franchise. I mean, we don't really have a franchise yet, officially. But at this point, nobody's gonna compete with Foles for the job. It's really Nick Foles' job to lose at this point, depending on how well he does this year. So, you know, yeah, we got Sanchez, even though the Rams might lose. The Rams are one to do this right now.
Yeah, of course, you know, talk about, for Sam Bradford. No, albeit, I mean, Sam Bradford, I mean, he had a big signing bonus, so, I mean, but just not getting to play a regular season again, re-tearing the ACL.
Honestly, I think his career's pretty much almost over. I mean, he's taken a lot of injuries. I mean, it's kind of sad because I really thought he had a lot of potential at quarterback, but much of his college career, this guy just has like a massive injury prone that he attached to him.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously that's been a you know, possible, you know, trade rumor.
Though it says that the Rams are committed to Hill right now. I don't know for how long.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want Sean Hill, they essentially say we're okay finishing the last place in the West again. We are fine with
that. In a strong, you know, the NFC West.
Yeah, but they actually have a very good defense.
They do. Well, yeah, they do.
I mean, hell, even Michael Sam is good. Is laying it up. I mean, hell, he let Johnny Manziel
and did and mocked his Johnny Manziel's money. So
he's gotta make the roster here.
oh yeah.
I know they're deep on the defensive end here, but to me, he's outplaying whatever guy is fighting for that final spot at this point. He has to be.
Yeah.
He just made Johnny Manziel. He just pulled Manziel out. I don't want to hear second, third string here. The guy's been playing a hell of a job at that position.
Yeah.
And to me, he just adds more credibility to the Rams' the defensive line. It's already talented with guys like Chris Long and so on.
Yeah.
Like I said, and to me, they got playmakers on wide receiver, and they got a solid running game last week, too. That quarterback position is really that's keeping this team from making the playoffs, possibly.
Yeah.
They got a solid quarterback that
just
can
being
make the
in a
playoffs.
tough, yeah, that, and of course, being in a tough division.
Yeah. But they got Jeff Fisher as a head coach, too.
Yeah,
For a coach to have
yeah,
to turn a franchise around.
yeah, so yeah, obviously the quarterback going down is obviously tough for them, but yeah, see, I guess we'll see how Sean Hill does, I don't know.
He's a veteran, but is he really going to be the guy that leads to the promised land?
Yeah, I would think, Sanchez might serve him better there, but maybe they're behind Sean Hill, so maybe Sanchez will stay in Philadelphia, and, if Foles were to go down, Sanchez, it's not too long.
It's like a Ron Jaworski says, hey, it was a top 3 team starter. Maybe you got this guy to come in and fill in the gap for you.
Yeah.
And his 3 guys were the Eagles, Mark Sanchez, and he said the Colts shocked me, because against Matt Hasselbeck, but the guy
he's gotta be like 40 years old now.
He's the backup for the Colts.
I remember the, Super Bowl XL, I think, 40 against the Steelers. He was...
Took him to the Super Bowl,
I think it was 32, 33.
That was the game that made sore Seahawks, man.
Yeah.
Which is shocking, because they lost that game.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
And then of course the Jets with Geno Smith and Michael Vick, they said.
Yeah, apparently Geno Smith over Michael Vick, yeah.
Some people think Vick just gave him the job after maybe intentionally not playing that well, or maybe just being satisfied with just being on a roster, not even care about starting anymore.
Brian Hoyer over Johnny Manziel.
Really after that Monday football,
you can kind of see why.
He played better against the Rams, really. did get sacked 2 times against Michael Sam, but he played better Vegas than Hoyer technically, but no, I mean, honestly, it feels like it's Hoyer. I would not be shocked to start Mansell at one point, like maybe halfway through the season.
If things
especially the Browns are like guaranteed to finish in last.
Yeah.
If they're a playoff team, it's because of Hoyer. Manziel's sitting on the bench for a while. But yeah, if they're going nowhere,
which is
you got nothing to lose, basically, NFL.
Probably the most likely scenario.
And you might start giving a reason for Brown fans to start showing up at the stadium. You don't want to be Jacksonville. You want to show an empty arena.
Right, So that's it. Of course, one of the concerns, getting back to the Eagles, is of course, our kicker, Alex Henry, who missed a chip shot field goal in that game. Of all the bright spots
he's gonna miss the most extra points this year. I have a feeling about that.
Yeah, because if
it's 35 yards out.
So he's gonna miss, so he might miss some of it, but of course they brought in...
the league in most missed PATs
now they brought in the one kicker from Indianapolis to kind of, I guess, to boot it in.
Yeah, sure, compete.
Yeah.
What's the take
No QB battle, but a kicker battle. But apparently, like, this kick, like, he's, like, good at, like, kicking it into the end zone. Not necessarily kicking field goals, but, of course, there's some kickers that are on the free agent market. Former, Rob Barone.
Jay Feely got cut by, I believe,
Rob Barone's, might be but then, of course, what is he, 42? David Akers, former Eagles out there. I don't know, I mean...
So what, the Niners cut him finally? Was that...
Well, he was on the... I thought last year he was on the Lions, I think.
Oh yeah, good point.